In this video, we are going to take things to a whole new level. AI has been around in several forms for a while. We are going to make use of generative AI in an attempt to firm up our match selections with a second opinion from the AI model itself. At this point, I must iterate this is purely experimental. You should always own your own trades. You cannot be blaming the AI for the loss. I'm sure it won't be long before AI is included in trading software itself, but you don't need to pay an arm and a leg for it. It is free in most cases if you're prepared to do a bit of the work yourself. Now that is out of the way, we're going to select matches in our normal way using the software of your choice. I'm going to use CGMBet, but use whatever you are comfortable with. I'm going to use my correct score strategy for this example. You could use any of your own though. The key at this stage is to get the data from your software that you're going to need to help the AI tool. The data I'm collecting is the percentage of games for the current season where the home team has scored first, the percentage of games for the current season where the away team has conceded first, the percentage of games where there's been 2.5 games at the home team's venue for the current season, and the percentage of games where there's been over 2.5 goals in the game for the away team for the current season, and finally the percentage of games with under 3.5 goals in it where the home team are playing, and the same for the away team playing away for the current season. And our filter criteria on this is we want the home team to score the first goal more than 70% of the time, the away team to concede the first goal more than 70% of the time, and I'm also including more than 50% of games where there's been over 2.5 goals in it for the home and for the away team. The third measure, the under 3.5 goals, we would just use that for view only. We won't filter on that. So applying those filters gives us just 2 games on this particular day. Now for my strategy, I'm looking for the home team between 1.3 and 1.6. So both of these games meet that criteria. If they didn't, we would come down to the filter here and we would change that accordingly, just to give us the list of games that we're interested in. So now we've got our games, the next thing to do is to export them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the default fields, and we're also going to take custom 1 and custom 2, the home team 1, 2, 3 and 4, the away team 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the odds for the home win, the draw and the away win. And we'll add them like so. Now, although we're not using custom 1 and 2 or the 4 values in this strategy, we're bringing them over as placeholders, because if we decide to use them in future iterations, then it just makes it easier to have them in place for the formula. But all will become apparent as we move through. So if we export that, and we'll keep it as the default, and that is done. So now all we need to do is to open up that file. So what I've done here is I've opened up Excel, and I've just copied and pasted the information out of Excel into Google Sheets. And the reason I've done that is Excel versions under Excel 365 only allow formula up to 255 characters. That's not going to be enough for what we need to do here. So I've brought it into Google Sheets, which is free and also allows formula of over 255 characters. So you can see we've got our 2 games here that we had in CGMBet. The 2 custom columns are empty because we didn't have anything in them. Home value is the percentage of games where the home team has scored first. Away value is where the away team's conceded first. Home 2 is the games over 2.5 goals as a percentage, and the same for away 2. And home 3 is the games under 3.5 goals for the season. And we can see here the odds for the home win, odds for the draw, and the odds for the away win. So now all we need to do is to formulate our question that the AI is going to work with. In our AI tool, this is called a prompt. So now we have our data in Google Sheets. We need to formulate our question, and this is what we're going to be asking to the AI. So what I've got here is I'm using a previous game here. Can you give me a selection of potential football scores for Montreal v Nashville in the Major Soccer League? Montreal scored the first goal in 62.5% of the home games this season. Philadelphia conceded the first goal in 62.5% of away games. Montreal have over 2.5 goals in 75% of their home games scored and conceded combined. Philadelphia have over 2.5 goals in 75% of away games scored and conceded combined. Montreal have under 3.5 goals per game in 37.5% of home games scored and conceded combined. Philadelphia have under 3.5 goals per game in 37.5% of away games scored and conceded combined. Odds are 2.53 for home, 3.71 for draw, and 2.72 away. Can you give me probabilities and reasoning for the most likely correct scores? We have refrained from mentioning any particular scores we are interested in. We want the AI to have an unbiased view of what might happen. It is also worth noting that the more detailed the question, the better response you'll get. So what we're going to do is we are going to use formulas to build up our question. This eliminates the need to type out each question every single time you want to ask it to the AI, and it also eliminates typos. So what you can see we're doing here is we're just substituting particular values of the question with the data that we've extracted from CGMBet. Now, as you can see, that gives you the actual question. So we've got locomotive Plovdiv versus high bar, but you can see in the second one, I've made a typo deliberately, and Zelina aren't playing anybody. So what we can do is we can just drag the formula down as far as we need to for every single game. And now we can see that that is filled in, and if we've got any other games in this selection, we will automatically have the questions pre-populated. So you can see we can very quickly get questions for a whole series of games here just by pasting your data in from CGMBet or your data software of choice. So now we've got our questions, we're going to copy that into ChatGPT and also into Google Gemini to get two opinions on our match. So first of all, we're going to use ChatGPT. So if we paste that in, it's got our question as it was in Excel, so in Google Sheets, and we'll see what it comes back with. Okay, so it's basically summarising here what the stats are we've passed into it, and it's analysing the probabilities. So it's saying Plovdiv is likely to score the first goal, and the match is likely to have between 2 and 3 goals, with Plovdiv being the strong favourite to win. So I think it's agreeing there with what we've kind of profiled before, and the estimation Plovdiv win is high, and the away team are the clear underdogs. So the correct scores it's predicting is either 1-0 to Plovdiv, 2-0 to Plovdiv, or 2-1 to Plovdiv, with the possibility of a 1-1 and a 2-2 draw. And then it gives a reasoning on that. And it's giving the percentage for each. So 2-0 would be the highest, followed by 1-0, followed by 2-1, followed by 1-1, followed by 2-2. Now we're going to ask Google Gemini the same question. And it's come back with its reasoning again, and the most likely scores are 2-1 to Plovdiv win, 1-0 Plovdiv, 2-0 Plovdiv, and the same as a low probability of a draw, and those are kind of the most popular scores. So the two are kind of agreeing with each other there. But what you can do next is an absolute game changer. We're going to ask the AI to simulate the games based on the stats that we've provided to it for 1,000 runs, and see what the results are. So we paste that in and let it do its stuff. So first of all, we're using Google Gemini here. So this is running the game 1,000 times, and that's what it's come back with. So 2-1 around 30 or 40% of the time, 1-0 20 to 30%, 1-1 10 to 15, and 2-0 10 to 15. And other scores, including he bar wins, are very infrequent, less than 5%. And looking at the streaks, Plovdiv kind of have a streak of 3 to 4 consecutive wins about 10 to 15% of the time. There's 2 to 3 draws 5 to 10% of the time, and Hebar wins 2 to 3% of the time. So that kind of confirms what it's told us previously, but now we get a handle on how many times each of these results is likely to happen in 1,000 simulations. If we ask the same of ChatGPT, so we get a bit of a more richer experience here. It actually gives us the Python code to be able to create this, and it's actually running it for us as well. In the simulations done via the ChatGPT, so Plovdiv 2-0 has happened 304 times, 30%, 1-0 239 times, 2-1 207, 1-1 143 and 2-2 107. So the longest streak was the home team winning 16 games in a row, 5 draws in a row, and the away team only 2 wins in a row. So the most common score was 2-0, and basically it's just summarising what we've just set up here. Away wins were very rare, reflecting the low probability assigned. That's actually interesting. That this game actually did finish 2-1 to the away team, which is why we've picked it, because it was an extremely unlikely result, and none of the AI has given it much chance, to be honest. It was actually a 90th minute winner. So using our correct score strategy, it was 1-1 at 70 minutes, so we would have been out for a win at that moment in time anyway. But this just goes to show how AI can help you firm up your selections and your beliefs as to what is going to happen in games. All of this is completely free. Do bear in mind though that with ChatGPT, the data modelling that we've just done on the 1,000 game simulations is very limited, unless you pay for the pro version. You can only do so many searches of that in a 24-hour period. The Gemini simulations appears to be unlimited at the moment. Certainly it's got a longer threshold, and we haven't actually become a victim of that, so we can do as many of those as we want as far as we can tell. The formation of your prompts and the data that you supply to the AI models is paramount to the success you'll get from using it to assist you. The example used here is not intended to be copied word for word. Just play around with your own data and your own questions and see how AI can help you. Thank you for watching.